What do the ladies do in the Mormon church? I don't know. We're going to find out on this episode of Drunk Mormon Podcast.
Oh, this is the podcast where we drink with the Mormons, strange and peculiar people they may be. Come hear the stories we were taught in our childhood. Come drink and join our eternal family. Come drink and join our eternal family.
Welcome to the Drunk Mormon Podcast.
Welcome back.
This is the podcast where we get drunk and talk about people who never get drunk.
That's our friends, the Mormons.
I'm David John Banks, and I was raised Mormon.
And I'm Lauren Sackwidge, and I've never been Mormon a day in my life.
And we're your hosts.
That's us.
Each week, we teach Lauren a little bit more about Mormonism, whether that's stories from the Book of Mormon, stories from Mormon church history, or interesting things that Mormons believe. But this week...
It's ladies' night, y'all. This is Julia, back from the Sober Special, but tonight I am the designated driver. Woo! And like Jesus, I am taking the wheel.
Yeah!
Yeah, for Mother's Day, we're going to have an episode about
women.
Ladies. Yeah, which means I'll be learning too, because this isn't an experience that I've lived. And so... for our Mother's Day special, I'm taking a back seat.
But we're all going to be in this bus together. We're ready to go.
Yeah, I'm happy to learn. I'm ready to learn.
I'm stoked. Mm-hmm.
So before we really get into that topic, we do have a little bit of business.
Oh, yay.
First of all, just to be accountable, we did drop a week. 2 Sundays ago, we didn't release an episode because I was moving and I just didn't have time. And you know what? I don't think anyone cares. But that also means that we're recording in my new apartment. First time.
It's really nice.
Beautiful.
It's got a lot of natural light and a sidewalk that doesn't go all the way to the street, which is my favorite part.
The other thing we want to be accountable for, last week in episode 6, I totally meant to acknowledge that we based our game off of the Listener Limerick Challenge from the NPR podcast Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, which is a great podcast to listen to if you need activity ideas. Totally had it in our notes. We were going to acknowledge that, but I was drunk and I didn't say it. So
it happens. Thanks, NPR, guys.
And then we have one correction.
Oh, what did we get wrong?
Lauren, it's actually a correction for you.
I got something wrong? What did I get wrong?
Someone reached out to us to let us know that in Catholicism, you get a new name when you're confirmed, not for communion.
Oh, what's the difference? Could you respond back?
Yeah.
Aren't you
okay, so if you're listening
communion?
and you sent that in...
if you're listening, as you know, I got kicked out of CCD. I don't know anything past, like, the first week where you made nameplates and, like, got donut holes. So, like, please... educate me.
So, yeah, reach out. Let us
Thanks.
know. The last act I will do as a male voice in this podcast is introduce our guest.
Yeah!
Making her podcast debut is Erica Parks.
Woo!
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be on this.
Hi!
Yeah, so Erica, this is our first time meeting because she heard the podcast and slid into our DMs on Instagram and asked if she could come on.
True
That's
story.
Awesome.
I rewrote that message like 5 times. I was like, it needs to be breezy and like cool and not desperate. I was like, hey, I'm a former Mormon. I'm your gal. If you need someone to drink and podcast.
I love that. So, can I ask women to women? We ask every guest 2 questions. So we need to know where you're at with your Mormon practice and where you're at with your alcoholic practice.
I put my foot down at about 15 or 16. And then I moved to California and didn't know anybody and like instantly was like, I gotta find the Mormons. And so I went to church kind of off and on for like 2 years, maybe 3 years, but I wouldn't actually go mostly to the lessons. I would like just get dressed up and sit in the lobby, and like all my friends were Mormon. And then eventually I moved to Chicago and didn't need it anymore.
Cool.
And stopped finding the Mormon base around me. And now all my Mormon family is blocked on all social media.
Which is why we're doing this podcast. I like it.
My relationship with drinking is old. Like I've been drinking since I was maybe 18 or 19. And at this point I'm at the place where like I try desperately not to get very drunk and instead drink for like taste and flavor, and if I really need to be altered, I smoke some weed.
Oh, that's really nice. I liked it a lot. I thought this sentence was going to be like, I try to drink for taste and not to get drunk. But once I start going, that's more my jam.
No, I show up to parties with like a case of LaCroix and a vape pen.
I love it. But you are drinking with us today because I didn't prepare anything.
Yes. And I drink regularly. I just don't get drunk a lot. Yeah. I'm more of like, I like to have a pour of bourbon every night before bed from a beautiful teacup. I probably should have said that.
I
Girl,
love
that's
that.
classy.
What's your favorite bourbon?
Actually, I brought it with me. So it's Chaka Smoke, and I find it at Whole Foods. But Seven Stills Chaka Smoke, chocolate oatmeal stout, and it's a small bottle, and it's dangerous for me to have in my house because like a little pour of bourbon leads to, a whole bottle can go.
See, that is kind of my style.
So I brought fixins for a few different takes on old fashions because that's my favorite drink.
Oh, that's nice.
And it can be an acquired taste. Like the first time I encountered old fashions, I thought they were disgusting because it's just alcohol and more alcohol for the most part. There's not like juice or water in it. But now that's how I like my drinks. Your classic old fashioned is either made from bourbon or whiskey. These days I'm very like sweet toothed with my whiskey, so I always go with bourbon. And I didn't bring fixings for a classic old fashioned because I like other things, but you would take a cube of sugar, put a teaspoon of water over it, mash that together, pour your bourbon in, a couple drops of orange bitters. Maybe you take a peel from an orange and light it so that the essential oils express. Rub that around the rim of the glass, drop it in, and a cherry. And I prefer a Listardo cherry because they're fancy, and I like my drinks to be made of fancy ingredients.
Girl, this is a sexy drink.
But I brought fixins for a maple old fashioned. So I have from my hometown barrel aged. Pure American-made grade A dark maple syrup in place of the sugar cube. We'll still do the bitters. And then I think we'll do the orange peel, and then I think cherries are there for the taking. The thing about Listardo cherries is they're just independently the most delicious thing on earth. They're like dark cherries in this insane syrup, and I will tell you so that you don't fall down this, don't put like 10 of them and a bunch of syrup into some yogurt because it will haunt you later on. One day I had no booze and I was just like, Listardo cherries. And it had a really bad consequences. I'll do mine. Do this one. Okay, so I'm going to light this orange peel up for a little bit.
Get it.
Yeah. It'll start to smell really nice. And then you want to sort of twist it. Just get those oils and then rub it around the rim of the glass.
This is a sexy drink.
Well, these look amazing. So let's drink. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh.
It's so sweet.
Ooh.
I've never actually combined that whiskey with maple syrup. This is a super sweet drink. It's like mapley and smoky and orangey.
I mean, I kind of am into it, but I do understand that this is a departure from a normal one.
It is. And now that I'm thinking it, I would probably either choose a less flavorful bourbon, because this bourbon's already like Choco Smoke bourbon. So
Yeah.
I'd probably go with a plainer bourbon or rye. But this is fun. I'm liking it. Hey guys, bottoms up. Let's get drunk.
Hey.
You gotta catch up, man.
I I will.
So much.
I will.
It's a lot. All my animals are designers. There's Oscar de la Renta, there's Tino, short for Valentino, there is Stella McCartney, and there is Ghost Dead Coco Chanel.
I love it. I'm going to name my pets only after myself. So, Lauren Jr.
Oh
Lauren
my
the
God.
Third.
I love that.
I grew up on Harry Potter. Like, I got bullied in middle school for reading the book before it became popular. But, like, I was like, a very nerdy kid, so I got picked on a lot. And then I brought this book about magic to school. So I went to the Universal one as an adult. Like, I had to be either my senior year of high school or, like, freshman year of college. And, you know, when you go into, like, the wand shop and, like, the guy
Did you get picked?
comes down the stairs and I'm beaming like an idiot in this crowd. And he's like, well, what you? And my sister has this on video. I push a kid. I push a child out of the way. I'm like, he said me. It's like, in hindsight, watching the video, so embarrassing. But I had a great time.
There's a horse on the carousel at Disneyland that I've run children over for. And it's always upsetting because they're like dumb and 2 and 3 years old and they don't care what horse they're on. And a parent lifts them up and puts them on my horse. And I'm like, God damn it. So I have to wait for another cycle of the carousel to get on my horse. You'll know her when you see her. I'll describe her to you. All of the other horses on that carousel have very sort of geometric geometric fixings, like their saddle and the decoration on them. But there is one horse alone, that has like beautiful pearlescent roses spilling down the side of her mane and gorgeous gold bells, and she's just beautiful. And I have a picture of her on Facebook, and one day I was like in line for it and she wasn't there, and I was like, what, did I hallucinate this? So I found it on Facebook and went up to like the ride guy and was like, have you seen this horse? And he was like, yeah, it's being cleaned, which was such a letdown.
Oh my God.
Wait, I'm pretty sure that's the horse from Mary Poppins.
It's not, actually. So and the only reason I know that is I started to be worried that it was because I heard these girls in line behind me like, I hope I get the Mary Poppins horse. And I was like, oh, fuck, it's the Mary Poppins horse. Like, that's why it's so beautiful. And they made a beeline for a whole other horse. So she's just independently beautiful. And not enough people appreciate her. Like, it's only rando children who get... Yeah.
I'm swerving back into the lane.
Okay, let's learn.
Okay, we're here to learn. Mother's Day special. Let's turn the time over to the women to teach us about motherhood.
Yeah, me. I'm a woman.
You, that's you.
I'm a woman,
you.
and I was in the church. But my fondest memories of being a girl in the church was girls' camp. Is that a universal experience?
Girls' camp is a universal experience. Having it be your fondest memories is not a universal experience.
I loved it because I love any activity that has me like singing around a fire. So what it is this. It's, what is it? Is it a week? It's a full week, isn't it?
I mean, a weekend, I feel like.
Oh, God, I think mine might have been a whole week.
I forgot I have more drink to drink.
Yeah, you gotta drink it. So it's a whole week of girls' camp. Ours was at this camp up in the Cascades, and you're broken up by age, just like you are in like every other activity in the church.
Right,
But it's like first year, second year, third year, fourth year. Fifth year, you're like serious, you're badass, like you're a counselor. And like, I don't know that a lot of people stick around for the 6 years, but those ones are basically like running the place. And then there's like Relief Society and other adults there, and then there's some priesthood there supervising things. And
wait, I thought the priesthoods are only the guys.
Yeah, it's like just the old ones.
So there's guys at girls'
There
camp.
are some guys. Yeah, there's some guys.
Okay.
And there's just like a lot of activities like journaling and friendship bracelet making.
So really things you need to be out in nature to do.
There was some legit shit. Like, I think maybe someone tried to teach me to tie a knot. What I remember were like the prayer activities. Like, we would wander out into the woods and they would encourage us to like separate from the group and have like your personal Joseph Smith experience where like
I was gonna say, okay,
is revealed.
like in the beginning I would have been like, this is weird and probably unsafe, but now knowing Joseph Smith, I'm like, yeah, maybe we'll all start our own religion. It could happen.
And I always like,
we're all 14.
I would always get this like ghosty, magically feeling like, all right, something's gonna happen, and nothing would happen. There's like silly skits.
Oh, fun.
There were awards given out for us at the end each year. Like, I got an award like my first or second year for the most improvement in amount of complaining.
That's basically being like, this award is for being less of a bitch.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
that is what I got. It was so much shade.
That's so backhanded.
So much shade. Because I was complaining about how hot it was and how many mosquito bites I had. And this leader was like, we're all suffering. You are not the only one. And my response was, I suffer more.
Great.
But I did try and like put a button in it.
And you succeeded.
So you didn't like girls' camp. I'm so curious.
I'm what you would call indoorsy, as Jim Gaffigan says. And I also just like, if I was bullied growing up, it was more from the girls at church than it was like anyone else. Oh, yeah. So I was always like, I'm going to do the cooler option, which in my case was band.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, what did you play?
I played the trumpet.
I played the trumpet in marching band. Are you fucking kidding me?
Shit.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
I played the trumpet in marching band for 4 years of high school.
Me too.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Well, I did when I was learning trumpet. My
Redirect.
teacher was like, "You have perfect trumpet lips," and I was like,
Oh,
"I'm gonna
nobody should say that to any girl child.
That's inappropriate.
Or boy child.
Oh my
But like
God.
Or
at
any
the time, I
child.
was like such a like band person. I was like, oh my gosh, I was like born for this. But now I'm like, I should do a write up on that man.
Seriously. So yeah,
No,
Girls
like-
Camp was like the highlight of my Mormon experience. But you know, well, so I didn't
like a
go to
big
Laurel's, so I didn't do the project. I only got the necklaces marching up to that. But
Oh, see,
What's
this is
the
my
project?
Whoa. You get necklaces?
so there are these beautiful necklaces that you can achieve. You can get with certain achievements. And I got like the lower echelon versions of those, but like there's a Laurel project that's supposed to be like an Eagles project, but it is nothing. And you get this beautiful picture. I feel like it's a woman in a flowy dress on an oval. It's like a gold oval, and it's like whoosh.
I'm Googling it.
Wait, didn't you guys
The
have
young
something
woman's
that
medallion.
was a personal progress project?
Okay, so you get the young woman's medallion
You found it.
after you complete your personal progress.
Yeah.
Do you still have yours? Did you get yours?
No, I didn't
You
get it.
opted out.
I didn't even opt out. I was like, you want me to do a bunch of crap? Like, I'm
To
gonna
get
have
a
a life. I'm not
shitty
doing
necklace.
this. Yeah, like
I already
just
have my
didn't
CTR
care.
ring.
I also think it's so funny that the person who's like so into it at the time, ex-Mormon, and the person who was like, fuck this, I'm gonna stay indoors, is still practicing.
Well, I mean, I wasn't so into
That's
it.
the
I didn't
medallion.
do it. And sometimes on Sundays during Young Women's, Laurels would get up and tell about their project, and then they would get their necklace.
Yeah.
Like, as a ceremony?
But not a big fancy ceremony.
the
It
end
wasn't
of
at like
Star
the main. It wasn't in front of everybody. It was just at Young Women's.
What is Young Women?
Okay, remember how you love the word my maids and laurels and beehives?
Yeah.
All combined, that's young women's.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like the group
It's
name.
like a class.
Right.
Got it. Okay. So you get up, like you give a testimony.
Yes.
And when
Yeah.
you give a testimony about your project, you get a medallion.
Yep.
When you
Got it.
complete it. In Mormon church, sometimes I feel like they use public speaking as like a reward.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
you earned it, now you can talk at the
Get up
microphone,
and talk
even though we
about
can
it.
all talk at the microphone at any given time.
Yeah.
Um,
So apart from that, I gotta say, my memories of Young Women's are just like, there were Young Women's group activities. I had a Young Women's leader that I thought was awesome. And we would do things like go over to their house and have a movie night.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And like we would learn like journaling, again, very much the same stuff in girls camp. There was like journaling, there was like preparing yourself to be a wife and a mother.
Yeah.
What?
What else?
Wait, what do you
else
mean?
did we do in Young Women's?
Whoa, go back.
So it's like, I feel like there's a larger emphasis for women, obviously, for having homemaking skills.
Mm-hmm.
So like where Boy Scouts are out in the wilderness learning really useful skills that they'll never use again in their life until they're doing Boy Scouts with other Boy Scouts. The women are learning how to like be self-sufficient and have actual lives.
Really?
So, yeah.
Yo, I think like low-key, I think people throw shade at that, but like my friend Stacy does cosplay and can make her own like outfits and coats, and if I knew how to make my own outfits and coats, I'd be wearing my own outfits and coats.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's awesome. Also, I can't really cook to save my life. Like, it'd be nice to know how to actually cook food.
I just remember baking cookies.
Baking cookies was the bomb.
That's how to be self-sufficient.
The funny thing is I feel like a lot of the things when we have like issues with the church, it's like the girls are like, we love Young Women's and we love what we do, but we hate that we're not awarded like the same opportunities that the men are. But like we also don't mind, and that's not true for everyone. Like there's a lot of women who are like, I don't care, I could care less about like homemakey girly stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I was a big tomboy, so I was just kind of, like I said, I did not care about the medallion. I was like, I don't need that. I don't
But
want
you could
that.
bake a mean cookie.
Yeah, but I could put a cookie
What
together.
kind of
you know?
cookie?
Yeah. Oh, I remember learning
kind of cookie?
I love a
pumpkin
snickerdoodle.
chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, yeah, girl.
Yeah,
Oh,
pumpkin
my
chocolate
girl.
chip
Yeah,
cookie.
damn.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Erica's got
I
it.
distinctly
I love pumpkin
remember
chocolate
that
chip
experience.
Seasonal.
So fucking moist.
Fucking good. I haven't had one in forever.
I'll try to get you one.
Okay, so what else did we learn? I feel like you observed more. You said you feel like you learned to be self-sufficient.
I mean, I don't know that I learned to be like totally self-sufficient, but I do think the emphasis is more on those things for women. Sort of like, because in the
Feeding
church,
people.
like the role of the women is sort of like to be mothers and maternal and taking care of other ward members. Like we talked about, the Relief Society is sort of this place where the intention of the Relief Society is to like aid and help with the members of the church. So if like someone dies in your family, the Relief Society president is who's going to help you put the funeral together, so that you as a family don't have to deal with like that really hard stuff while you're going through something. So that's like the picturesque
nice.
the picturesque version of Relief Society is that it's like based
So,
on
like,
helping other people.
because I feel like at first when people are like you're teaching a woman to tend the home, they think like baking and like folding clothes or whatever. But
Right.
like arranging a funeral is so complicated.
Yeah.
And I didn't learn that.
There's a
Yeah.
very like
Well, you don't really learn it. They don't like teach it in class.
No,
it's sort of
and
like when it happens, you're like, ooh,
and
let's
I
buckle down.
re-experienced. So I eventually wound up in Relief Society in singles ward at Berkeley.
Right.
So when I sat, like, I would go for those few years, and I would for me, it was an opportunity to get dressed up, and I
Yeah.
didn't like to go to the main session
Yeah.
to sacrament meeting. But I would sometimes go to Relief Society because there's where I could get my hair played with,
Ooh,
which
yeah,
is like
girl.
a major thing for me.
Yeah.
If you will play with my hair, I'm yours forever.
Right. They were trying to keep you there. So they were like,
yeah.
when she comes, play with her damn hair.
Play with fucking hair. So I did sit through quite a few Relief Society meetings. And those were more serious,
Yeah.
definitely. You're
Yeah.
right. There was a lot more, less emphasis on baking,
Yeah.
more on sort of scripture study. But even so, like, obviously my heart wasn't in it.
Right.
So,
As a clarification, we've talked about how girls, when you're, I think, 12 until 18 years old, you're in Young Women's. But after that, you will go into the Relief Society for classes for the third hour of church.
when does singles ward like prescribe? Like they're like, you need to leave the family.
What?
and go to singles
Whoa,
ward. Okay,
what is singles
So when you're in
ward?
church growing up, you're in a family ward. It is made up of families and the odd sad single because they have missed the boat. They've failed to fulfill their most important.
I feel personally attacked.
Yes.
So you go to singles ward, which is a blast. At least I thought it was.
It's actually kind of like the party ship.
Yeah.
The party
it's
yacht
It's
of
the
church.
one
Right
time.
now,
it's
it
the
sounds
closest.
to me like the lowest tier of heaven.
Well-
like, well, God and Jesus aren't here, but we're gonna party anyway.
I think there are some people that transition that way. They're like, no, I don't want to go. And they like hold on to family ward and then they get into singles ward. And then that same thing happens again when you get to, what's the cutoff for singles ward?
30.
It's
Wait,
30.
tell
And
me-
if you haven't been married, they kick you back into... Oh, wait, there's the older...
There's
some
also-
states have an older singles
Stop.
ward.
Wait, you have to go back. Hold on.
Okay.
You're confusing me.
All right,
Go
all right.
back.
So family...
singles ward is just a group of single people who are all living together?
No.
Or like in the same area? What's going on?
The idea is that you go to church together with other single people. So you'll meet and date and marry other single Mormons. And then if you marry them, you go to family ward, right?
And what's the age? What's the age of singles ward?
So singles ward is from like 18 till 30. And if you haven't managed to unsingle yourself in that time...
You're out.
Well, there might be some places, more dense college-y areas will have an older singles ward, but that's drawing from a much bigger region. So, like, people are traveling for that shit. And then eventually, if you're never married, I think some people just filter right back into family ward.
Yeah.
And they're just these people, like, sort of whisper about it. Like, I had two cousins who married much later in life, and we were always, like, that was the biggest fucking topic of conversation all the time.
And like as a gay man, I have to tell you, singles ward was the fucking worst. Because it's like, oh, we're all here to like date and mingle because we're all single, except for the gays who aren't allowed to date. So we just show up and are just like the perpetual third wheel of the entire rest of the ward. It was so fucking terrible.
Oh, I'm at the point where all of my friends are like finding significant others or like moving in with their partner, and then it's just like me by myself. So like
get
this
it.
seems like
You're being
this
pushed
seems
into
like
the singles.
I'm like being pushed out of the singles ward into like the weird like all your friends got coupled up. Like this seems very universal. Like it's very structured the way that you're talking about it, but like this resonates to my
Like
being.
social experience. I get that.
So after singles ward,
After singles ward, hopefully you're married and you have fulfilled your divine purpose, which according I googled women in the church and there was like a page called that on the LDS website.
Oh wow.
And it was like the church recognizes and supports the divine purpose of women, and I'm paraphrasing here, but I think, and then it was like daughter, wife, mother, friend, which I thought was really interesting.
what?
Friend was in the list.
To who?
You get to be friends?
Friends with who?
Anyone and everyone.
Anybody, like especially if you're in Relief Society, like it's like I feel like the purpose of Relief Society is to be a good friend.
Yeah, get your gal pal.
Get you
Yeah.
I have a quick question though. Like, what's the mission statement of like men then?
That's a good question.
Like,
I did not look at.
What are men supposed to do?
Well,
'Cause
the thing is that
Joseph Smith did a cool thing. Like we talked about that. Like what are the nowadays men doing?
the nice
Is it
thing
similar?
So the men have the priesthood, which is the power of God.
Yeah.
And the thing that's nice about men, or I guess what's nice about the priesthood, is that like it's pointless to a man because it's only to be used in service of others as well. So like with the priesthood, you can give someone a healing blessing if they're sick, or you can
Right.
set apart people into their callings, which we talked about in Sober Special, or you can cast out spirits.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
Because it's Mother's Day, can we, like, I know, like, from a male perspective, like, there's this cliche of, like, oh, you're a mom, or a woman, you're a woman, you're supposed to be a mother. Like, what is your actual perspective on that? And, like, being raised Mormon and, like, your perception of motherhood?
That's a fraught topic for me
Yeah.
because I'll just quickly encapsulate it because I feel like it's maybe a little more than you want for this podcast. But all my mom ever wanted and planned to be was a mother, but that's all she planned. And I think she firmly believed that as long as you get them into church, everything will be okay. And if you don't have any ideas more than that, you're gonna fuck up as a mom. And she did. She just shat all over the place.
Yeah.
Just a disaster.
She laughs now. That's the sign of a good childhood. It's
Wait, do you like your mom?
shat everywhere and laugh.
Mom. I love her, but she just like, she was so depressed. And like my dad's was a therapist, and his dissertation at BYU, he proposed that it would be on the higher incidence of depression and other, disorders amongst Mormon women. And the church was like, that's nice. No, not a thing.
Oh
and was
God.
just like actively banned from doing his work on that. And I think my mom was an excellent example of it. And one thing we unpacked together that I was like, oh shit. So I love food. I mean, I love food as like an art and as a platform for socializing. For my mom, like one of her major jobs was to cook meals every day.
Yeah.
And then also find some way to get them cleaned up. And my dad had other roles, but things are very, gender divided. And my mom just like didn't have a healthy relationship with food. And she never, I even think, conceived of making it a joyful thing that everybody helps out with. Instead, she just hated her job. So one day I was like, I just don't get it. Like, I love cooking. And she was like, can you describe to me what a dinner party's like? And I was like, well, I'll start the prep work, and then my friends will come over and someone will uncork a bottle of wine, and then someone asks what they can cut, what things they can chop, and then the finishing touches are put on, and then afterwards, to me, in the best setting, your guests are like, we all start cleaning up together. And by the time everyone leaves, the place is cleaned up. And my mom was like, that's a thing?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know. And it floored me. I was like, no fucking wonder.
Yeah.
She had no concept of family and connection and joy over these jobs that were assigned to her and were basically her main responsibility.
Yeah.
And no wonder,
Yeah.
And also she grew up in Vegas and was transported to Kirkland, Washington. So she had like the daylight depression too and the fucking sun lamp and shit. So she was just a sad woman. Like I grew up with a mom that couldn't get out of bed a lot of times. And for all those meals she did make, there was a lot of times when there like just wasn't dinner because she didn't get up.
Yeah.
So that's my relationship with mom in the church.
I feel like for me, there's no getting around the fact that in the Mormon church, there's a history of women really, not all women, obviously, because no one gender, no one people can ever just be put into side of a box. But like, I am very, very not maternal. I see a child and I'm like, please, no.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, not like, especially babies, if I can't communicate with it, I'm like terrified of it.
Me too.
And that was something that was really hard for me for a long time. And then my dad said one day, he was like, I never liked a kid except for my own. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm cured. But there is like an expectation to be a mother and to have this thing, which for people who can't have children because, any number of reasons why you can't have children or whatever, it's extremely and extraordinarily painful within the culture.
Oh, that's true.
And I think it's been... that focus as women as homemakers, like maybe that's just not what you're good at.
Or what you want.
Yeah, and there's just no denying that, like, even as someone who believes fully in the gospel and in church, that's a pain that exists for a lot of women. Yeah. And the only thing I can say for that is, as a woman, I'm excited about the evolution and also to be a part of it myself as someone who's like, ooh, honey, like, I burn a lot of things. I try, and that's enough, but I'm not interested in being anything other than what I actually am. And as long as other women are doing the same thing, I'm excited for what it can be. But, I mean, again, I think there is a large responsibility to the culture of the church to understand and to try to repair relationships with women because of the damage of their expectations.
But do you think, like... I feel like we're all very biased because we live in Los Angeles.
Right.
We're like this to me, and I don't mean to like be pedantic to your religion, but like
no,
this
go
to
for
me
it.
seems like a very universal thing towards women. Like a lot of places, I feel like this is a role that women
but this is an explicit and very strictly gender divided patriarchal and hierarchical society. So
Yeah.
so where there are echoes of all of that in any aspect of any Western culture and any
like
Christian
that
religion,
times
it is
10.
like, well, it's just it's very out there. We're not,
Okay.
it's like not veiled. It is just the way things are.
Yeah.
Got it.
And also when things are phrased where it's like your spiritual and godly purpose to be this, that's like, it's one thing to be like, you know, F the police, I don't care about society.
My peers feel like this is what I'm
Right,
should be
but
doing.
I'm sort of on the
versus
out
what
crowd.
God
Right.
feels like it is different and heavier.
So when you said supporting the evolution,
Yeah.
what's happening? Because I listened to Unladylike, sorry to mention another podcast.
Oh, we're
on this
happy
show.
to give other people shout outs. We love other
Okay,
podcasts.
so Unladylike did an episode in which they interviewed Katie, I can't remember her last name, the founder of the Ordained Women movement.
Oh, Kate Kelly.
And,
Yes.
and it blew my mind. I didn't know about it because, as you know, I was already disengaged.
Right.
I literally didn't know about it until a month ago.
Right.
Wait,
And I
explain
was-
to me what it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there is a movement within the church where women want to be ordained with the priesthood. But like that's obviously not something that's sanctioned by the church. So
Right.
Kate Kelly was excommunicated from the Mormon church because she was like so loud and proud about
She led a march of women that went to a conference. You learn about conferences, right? Well, the whole goal was to show up and ask to be admitted to the special priesthood session where women aren't allowed. And they weren't. And they continued to be very vocal. Yeah, so she was excommunicated, and also family and friends, if not excommunicated for being associated with her, were at least like stripped of callings and warned that more could happen.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's a really...
Yeah, it was a big
So
thing.
I was driving home from work, and my friend was like, "You need to listen to this podcast."
Yeah.
I was just like,
Oh my
crying.
God.
What's the name of the podcast again?
Unladylike. It's a feminist podcast, and what struck me about this interview was the whole time she so clearly is full of love for the gospel and the church. So full of love that she's willing to take it on and improve it, whatever they'll do to her.
Right.
And they did the worst. And
Yeah.
up until the worst, some part of her believed that they would do right.
Right.
And that's what killed me. I was just
Yeah.
like, I know they're not going to do right. I knew they wouldn't, but she really held on.
This is such a weird parallel to make, but I was just watching David Letterman's My Next Guest Is.
love
and
that
they
show.
interview Barack Obama, but
Yes.
part of it is the protests in Selma, and like part of what Obama says is like, you can love something, you can be so American and so patriotic, but realize that there's room for improvement.
Yeah.
And it's your duty as an American, as a lover of America, to push for those improvements where they can be. So like, it's not insane to believe and love and care about a doctrine, but also wish it to move forward for a current time. Like that, I don't know, like it's not one or the other.
Totally. It struck me as the greater love. Whereas I cut and ran. I was like, nope, doesn't fit me. Bye-bye. She was like, no, I'm going to stick it out and believe that you'll do better because that's how much I love you. And that, I was like, I can't take this.
Yeah.
I like cried the entire podcast home.
So is her movement making any progress?
Not really.
There's not a lot of progress. It's not like you can get like the soft priesthood. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Right.
either you do it or you don't. So there's not really like a progress report that can be made because it's just one decision. So no decision to change has been made. I am really lucky because I have never felt hurt by not having the priesthood. But I do wish there was more representation of women within the leadership of the church as far as like it be at general conferences or just hearing the voices of women more and having that be more mainstream within the gospel. I would love to see that change. But we need to start our game, which is highlight reel. I'll just say this. To anyone who's in pain, I'm here with you. I'm fighting with you. I believe in you. you go, sister friend. And to anyone who's still in the church, like, girl, if you want to wear your pants, you wear your pants. If you want to not be a mom, don't be a mom. Like, if you just want to be whoever you want to be, go for it. And whoever wants to be a mom, you look amazing pregnant. I'm so happy for you. But, you know, for all of those things, like, we're a sisterhood whether we're in the church or not.
Absolutely.
And let's just go. Let's just be awesome. And the future is female.
Yes.
People just want to be recognized as individuals.
Exactly.
Like, you can wear a dress and also be a priesthood. Like, there just needs to be more space, more visual space for people.
Yeah.
Everyone, remember,
You know-
the definition of feminism is equality.
Yeah.
We're not trying to weed out the men. We just want to be in the same race.
And we want everybody to be in the same race.
Yeah. We're all in this.
Low-key, I'm trying to be better than everybody else.
Yeah. Lauren's like, bye. I'm a win.
I'm like, bye. No, I'm trying to be higher up.
She's like, if this is a race, I'm in first place.
I'm trying to be the queen of, like, an ant colony.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
bee colony.
Yeah.
Which one's better?
I don't know, but
Bees or ants?
Bee. Because you get fed the
Bees?
royal jelly.
That's it. I'm trying to be a bee queen.
either way, I'm praying for you. I hope it works out. Okay, let's get into our
The game.
We're gonna do the activity.
We're doing it. And this week, our game is called Lady Heroes of the Book of Mormon.
I love how you deliver when you are on the spot. You get a sexy voice.
Something happens to me.
Yeah.
Be sexy.
Yeah.
Lady here.
In my sexy voice, here's a shout out for all the men out there. If,
Give us the priesthood.
all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's start. So, this is how the game works. In all 531 pages of the Book of Mormon, there are, count 'em, 3 women named.
Very represented.
That being said, Erica and I are going to take turns reading a description, and you have to decide which of us is telling the truth.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I like this.
Let's go. Our first woman is Sariah.
Ooh, okay.
Option number 1. I fled Jerusalem when my husband had visions of its destruction and lived in the wilderness with my family. I complained against my husband when he sent my sons back to Jerusalem to get the brass plates because I was worried they might die. Luckily, we all safely sailed to the American continent. I may or may not be the mother of all Native Americans.
Okay.
I was a daughter of Ishmael who moved to America with Lehi's family. Though originally betrothed to Laman, the eldest brother, I rejected him for his wicked ways, and later married Sam. The Book of Mormon doesn't say a lot about me other than the fact that I was a good and righteous servant of the Lord. So, Lauren, now it's up to you. Which of us is describing the real Sariah?
Here's the thing. Both of those I feel like are from the book of Nephi.
Got it.
What's his name?
Chapter in the movie.
What's his name?
Nephi.
Who's the guy who wrote the book? Nephi.
Yeah.
And Nephi is not going to write about some bitch who left him. So I think
Oh,
Erica
wow.
is naming the real Sariah.
Really, intuitive reasoning. I loved it. You're right.
You're so right. Bing, 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 bing. Yeah, girl.
And you also learned about this in episode 2, so good memory, Lauren.
Oh, yeah, I did.
You're an
Thank
excellent
you.
pupil, drunk or sober.
I try.
Okay, so our second lady, her name is Abish.
A-bish, babish. Let's do this.
All right, option number 1 for Abish.
I was a Lamanite servant girl who secretly converted to Christianity when I heard the stories of Jesus. I served the Lamanite kings faithfully until a Nephite missionary showed up with miracles of God, causing the entire royal household to faint into a coma-like state. Then I ran house to house to gather the people to come see the miracle and spread the truth like a good member missionary.
Option number 2. I was raised as a Lamanite but ran away from home to escape the wicked people of my birth. Blessed by God, I became a badass warrior who took neither side of the Nephite Lamanite army but fought to defend the weak and innocent from the wars that raged around them. Lauren, which of these is the true Abish?
Okay, I feel like I haven't learned about any of this.
You haven't.
You haven't. You just
Great.
follow your gut.
And as a child growing up outside of the Mormon church, was a huge fan of Xena Warrior Princess. And I feel like, Julia, your rendition reminds me most of Xena Warrior Princess. So I'm going to go with you, Julia, are the correct bio of Abish.
Girl, that's cute that you think women be fighting in the Book of Mormon.
What?
Women do be fighting.
We know what's good. We staying at home.
Yeah.
I should have known. They're not fighting. Wait, so what did Abish actually do?
She
Nothing.
converted, had a testimony, and convinced people to come see the crazy miracle of her boss and all the rest of the servants fainting.
Okay.
You're going to get more of this story someday, maybe, but she plays a role in that story, and she is...
Was the other one based on Xena Warrior Princess?
Yeah, we based the second one on Xena precisely, like wiki fucking summary, and I love it that you zeroed right in.
All right, now,
Okay, keep
last but not least, we have one more lady.
Who is it?
Her name is Leia.
Oh, okay.
I was a Nephite princess who was captured by a wicked Lamanite priest. I watched him destroy my village because I had secretly smuggled war plans to the Nephite prophet, Benjamin. Later in life, I became a leader and a general in the Nephite army. The spirit is strong with me.
Yeah, Julia?
Option 2 is there's no third woman named in the Book of Mormon.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm on a divide because, one, I feel like there has to be more than 2 women named in the Book of Mormon. But also, 2, Erica's rendition is the plot of Star Wars. So I'm torn. I don't want to fall for the Xena trap again. I don't want to look like an idiot on this podcast, but I'm going to go with Julia. I feel like only 2 women are mentioned in the entire Book of Mormon.
Girl,
Is that true?
I'm gonna let DJ B, the man, answer you on this one.
Is that true?
Here's the thing. You have to understand that in the Book of Mormon, the women are not the most important characters.
Only 2 people?
Only 2, my
By
lady.
name. Other women are described. The wife of King blah blah blah. The maidservant of blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
the daughter of so.
The daughter of blah blah
kidding me?
blah.
When I even tell a drunk story, I think it's better if people have names, so you don't confuse
You are
everybody.
way a better storyteller than the boys writing these plates.
Listen, these men, it was only written by men, and they were
Well,
just...
the plates are also, to be fair, they're hard to
They're
carve
chiseling.
into because
Yeah.
they're made of
So
gold
yeah, it's
and
better to
brass.
say one word like a name than the daughter of blah blah blah.
Oh my
They're like,
God.
we love
That
these
doesn't
ladies,
work.
but I don't got no
What the
time to
hell?
type this bitch's name.
I would rather engrave 3 words than 1.
Anyway, representation is important.
It is.
Well, that's our lesson, that's our game, but I feel like the one thing I probably should say for our Mother's Day special
we love our moms.
is that I love my mom. I do.
Yeah.
I really love my mom. She's not a fan of this podcast, which is okay. But I love my mother, and I am so happy that even though I've had like a rocky relationship with the church and like this gay thing, that she and I have been able to stay like really close, and I'm lucky that I can call her when I need to, and I can tell her things.
That is
and
so
that
nice.
I'm not afraid to reach out to her. Not everybody has that relationship with their mother. Not everybody feels like they can tell their mother things that they know will be upsetting. I love my mom, and I hope she's having a good Mother's Day, and I'm sure I'll call her today, and just feel like that's the one thing that I should probably say before we wrap this up.
Mama Banks, this is your drunk son getting emotional about his love for you. You're in his thoughts.
I love that as your contribution to this episode.
Well, I think there's we're like at a time in like social history where like it's very easy to like shit on people who like don't want to be anything more than like mothers or family people, but like it is a very like difficult and hard and like fulfilling and noble thing if that's what you choose. I think like overall people just want choice. People want to choose if they want to be an Aaronic priest or a mother or whatever. People just want options.
God bless.
This was honestly kind of fun to just sort of sit back and listen for an episode instead of being the one in charge of what we're talking about. And we'll do a Father's Day episode, so look forward to that. Where I'll jump back in, and of course next week, of course, I'll be talking more. But thanks everybody for a fun podcast episode.
That drink smelled wonderful. All right, guys, this is your Uber driver. Get out of my car. And
Also,
pay me.
$200 for that puke.
Oh my
Exactly.
God. So thank you, Lauren. Thank you guys for coming on to talk about not Mother's Day stuff.
Let's talk about the woman's role in the patriarchy.
woman.
I don't know.
Anyway, and we barely scratched the surface. There's more Mother's Day
So much
specials.
more.
So much.
And thank you everybody who's listening every week. We've been getting some really nice feedback. If you haven't left us a review, we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You can follow us on Instagram or Twitter at Drunk Mormon Pod, Facebook.com/Drunk Mormon Podcast. We have a website, drunkmormonpodcast.com, where we post everything if you want to see. And if you're like Erica and you're listening and you live close to LA or want to visit LA or want to like Skype in with us, slide into our DMs. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to have you on. Now we're best friends with Erica. Like, that wouldn't have happened.
I
if she didn't
really
have the
like
courage
her.
to take the first step. Until next week, I'm David John Banks.
I'm Lauren Sackwich.
I'm Erica Parks.
And I'm Julia Hatfield.
And now we bid unto all
Farewell.
In the name of Kate Kelly, amen.